Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting of the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee this Thursday, October 16th. As is our habit, we will start with everyone please standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd like to start by welcoming all our members and guests, Interim Superintendent Dr. Brewer. I saw Board Chair Conrad and all the rest. Thank you, district personnel, for being here. And with that, let's do the roll call for those of us who are present.
Mic on would be nice. Angie, if you wouldn't mind just starting us off, and I'm just going to have us go.
Angie Lester.
Okay.
Diana Williams.
Thank you.
Jennifer Eggers.
Thank you.
Ken Osley.
Thank you. Melanie Leister.
Floyd Magwood.
Marianne Collins.
Thank you. And I believe that is a quorum, correct?
Yes.
Should be.
Okay. So minutes from the last meeting. If everyone has had a chance to look at those minutes, I would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make the motion.
I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. So, district overview, Dr. Brewer.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you all for your work and taking the time to be a part of this wonderful oversight committee. As you know, we cannot do what we are able to do in our school system without this referendum funding. So we're so appreciative of your time. We have Mr. Robert Rios Welsh with us this afternoon. He is our Chief Financial Officer, and he is going to provide the presentation and then, of course, introduce you to many of our district staff that will elaborate in the different areas where the funding is so supportive. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Brewer. Committee members, good afternoon. I'm Mr. Robert Rios Welsh. I'm the new Chief Financial Officer here for Marion County Public Schools. I've been here for about 2 months, but I'll be honest, it feels more like 2 years. But here we are, and there's a lot of work in front of us, so we're gonna delve right into it. So we're gonna start with a overview of referendum, but before I jump into the details, I would like to just introduce all of the various presenters who will be joining me tonight. Charity Corneliuson, Coordinator for Physical Education. Catherine Oti, Coordinator for Career and Technical Education. Bragan Hughes, Coordinator for Media-Related Instructional Services. Brooke Hutto, Coordinator for Visual and Performing Arts. Cassie Busha, Coordinator for Professional Leadership and Learning. And Mr. Dennis McFadden, Executive Director for Safe Schools.
Mr. McFadden's a back row Baptist on us today. We see you back there.
Great. So, again, good afternoon, everyone. And I want to start off by saying that, we take this very seriously in terms of making sure that we have a clear look at how referendum dollars are being used responsibly, transparently, and with the greatest impact for all students, staff, and the community. I'm going to go through and share where we stand with current funds, how they've been allocated, and the positive result with your support that this has made across the entire district. So for an overview, let's just start off by providing a recap. As a reminder, oh, there we go, okay. Referendum dollars are a 1 mil ad valorem property tax on real property and was approved by voters November 8th, 2022, and became effective July 1st, 2023, and runs through June 30th of 2027. So this is coming back up for a refresh here pretty soon, and so it's very important that we like to highlight how things are going. These funds can be used for very specific purposes, like reading, physical education, art, music, library and media, and other vocational programs. They also help us meet our class size requirements in terms of retaining certified teachers, paraprofessionals, and support our school safety initiatives. These voter-approved fundings, these voter-approved funds allow us to show our commitment to the community and our doubling down on quality education to provide safe and enriching learning environments. From the time the referendum funds began, including this year's budget, as you can see in the presentation, we have expected to collect $260 million in total. Our current projected expenditures are about $250 million. So clearly a sizable investment from the taxpayers here in Marion County. The next slide are two pie charts that go through and really highlight where the funds are being spent so far. And so at this point in the year, first quarter, we've received 19% of total revenues, with expenditures tracking closely behind at 17%. This reflects solid, reasonable management and keeping funds aligned with planned priorities. The next slide shows our general fund referendum expenditures by program. For the current year, we've budgeted $42 million in total expenditures. From those dollars distributed across all our program areas you'll see on the next few slides, we're going to be supporting our teachers, our students, and the essential programs that make a difference every day. The next slide, again, has a graphical representation of the general fund total expenditures by program from 2020 through 2021 through the first quarter of 25-26. It's helpful to see how the funding has been used over time, providing stability, consistency, and sustained support for critical instructional areas. I'd like to also point out that the vast majority of these dollars is going towards class size reduction at 39%, which is to the far left of the screen. Next slide, we're going to talk about fund balance. So at the end of 2024-25 school year, we had an ending fund balance of $13.3 million, which rolled into 25-26. For this year, we've budgeted $41 million in revenue and $42 million in expenditures, leaving a fund balance of about $12 million at the end of 25-26 projected. Any unspent referendum dollars will carry forward into the next year, ensuring that we can maintain program continuity. And just as a reminder, these funds are restricted. They can only be used for the purposes approved by the voters. Now let's take a look a little closer at our general fund programs, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the charter school allocations separately. So we're going to talk about kindergarten paraprofessionals. And you have a nice slide here with some children there. That's great. So total budget for kindergarten paraprofessionals is $5.7 million, and we've spent approximately $785,000 so far, and this helps to support 158 paraprofessionals. Paraprofessionals are an allowable expense under referendum because they certainly and directly support our student learning and our classroom instruction, both of which align with the educational purposes outlined in the referendum. Referendum dollars can be used to make staffing positions, to fund staffing positions that enhance instructional support, improve student outcomes, and maintain manageable class sizes. Paraprofessionals play a vital role in the areas of assisting teachers with instruction, providing individual and small group support, and helping meet diverse learning needs of our students. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Charity Corneliuson. She's going to walk us through how some of these funds are supporting physical education this year. Ms. Corneliuson?
I'm afraid to touch it because if I do, it may get temperamental. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank you on behalf of all of our MCPS physical education team. Your continued support of referendum funds allows each and every one of our teachers, frankly, to have a job. You are directly impacting thousands and thousands of students every day by supporting this initiative. What you're seeing here are highlights and just one piece of what this investment makes possible. Our educators' dedication to ongoing professional learning. This summer, hundreds of Florida educators in every subject area gathered for the Department of Education's Summer Resiliency Training, including our own Marion County PE team. The focus was on strengthening student resiliency, helping students develop the confidence, perseverance, and coping skills that impact not only the physical health, but also academic success. Our teachers didn't just attend, they actively participated, presenting ideas, collaborating with peers, and bringing new best practices back to their schools. These experiences directly shape how they design lessons that promote both physical fitness and mental health. While the referendum doesn't directly fund attendance to these types of trainings, it does fund the employment of dedicated professionals willing to invest in their field. That's the real return on investment of this funding. Teachers who stay at the forefront of evidence-based practice and who continually adapt to meet the needs of their students. This second slide highlights our district back-to-school training. It brings together every PE teacher, K through 12 in the county. Each August, they gather together to participate in hands-on professional learning that integrates technology, engagement strategies, and student data tools into PE classrooms. Here you see our teachers testing new Heart Zones technology, which measures real-time heart rate data to help students set and achieve personal goals. They also explored new equipment designed to increase student engagement and ensure every child, regardless of ability, has a way to participate and experience success. Our PE staff takes these tools and lessons straight back to schools, where they become a part of daily instruction, helping students connect movement, motivation, and measurable progress, and it all starts with investing in our educators. Every training opportunity, every piece of technology, every innovative lesson you see in our PE classes begins with the support this referendum provides. On behalf of our educators, our students, and our families, I want to sincerely thank you for investing in physical education as an essential part of our total student education. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if we're supposed to ask questions now, if you don't mind. I think I might just need a refresher.
Absolutely.
I see on the general fund, slide 5, last year, 24-25, we spent $9.5 million on PE, which is higher than everything else I see. And year-to-date, it seems, in the first quarter, that we're on the track to do that again. And I think it's outlining $10 million for the year. And I need a refresher to know how we're spending that much on PE, because it used to be just some equipment, $2 million or so. And then all of a sudden it jumped up to 9.5, and it looks like it's going to be 10. I didn't know if that was, I'm reading in the newspaper about police officers at the games and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you can just clue me.
Well, that wouldn't have anything to do with physical education.
I was wondering.
I can answer that for you. So last year, the board made a decision that we were going to trade out some of the units that we had funded through our regular general fund versus referendum. So in the past, we had a handful of PE teachers that were placed in the referendum funding. Last year, what we did is we took all of the PE art music and moved them over to referendum, took all of the basic classroom educators that we were funding out of referendum and moved them over to general fund. So it was an even swap in number of peoples, but it's going to offset some of where you see the categoricals.
Yeah, I love to see that it's decreasing the class size amendment requirement. That's wonderful.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'll give that some thought.
All right. Any other questions on that previous slide? If not, we'll move forward.
You know, while I'm thinking about it and while it's that subject.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. I don't know what the vocational and library, he just said that everything is lumped under the PE for, as far as class size amendment for vocational, library, art. And so we're not seeing those in those other columns then, is that right?
No, you would see that. So again, we had a limited number of PE teachers that were funded through referendum. They were ones that we needed to add when we were sharing PE teachers between schools many years ago. Same with media specialists and art music PE. So what we did was, instead of funding some PE, some art, some music, and some basic education teachers like English, math, science teachers that were helping us with class size, we took all of the basic education teachers out of referendum, moved them to the district side that we pay for out of our state revenue, and then took all of the PE, art, music teachers, moved them over to referendum. So it was an even swap in number of teachers, but you'll see the PE number goes up because we have more PE teachers. The class size goes down because we have fewer basic education teachers in
Right,
there.
so we didn't split it equally. It's starting to sink in now, thank you.
Correct. It just makes it cleaner on our end that we're funding all the people from the same pot of money.
And I believe a big factor of that is there's at least 2 teachers to a lot of campuses. So correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that there's more PE teachers being funded than, say, like 1 art teacher or 1 music teacher, that type of thing. I believe that's the case, correct?
Yeah, it depends on the size of the campus. So the number of students dictates how many PE teachers or PE techs that we have on a campus. So as the size of the campus increases, we do increase to 2 PE teachers. So a lot of our larger campuses, including our 2 new elementary schools that we just opened this year, that we've added 2 PE teachers at both of those sites that we did not have before. So those would be additional units that we've placed in referendum.
But for clarification too, and I don't know if this is maybe what you're asking, the PE teachers are in the physical education, the art are in the art. You
Correct.
placed them in each of the categories.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that just, so they're reflected in each one of the categories.
Correct. All funded through referendum, but they'll be reflected in each of the charts based on what they teach.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehouse. Just to underscore that, that movement of staff to general funds also helps with the long-term stability of making sure that in the future, in the event that referendum funds were ever to end, we could still be able to provide the support for the teachers in the classroom reduction effectively in perpetuity by putting it into the general fund, whereas those additional or arts, PE related type staff members are funded through referendum. So I just wanted to underscore that. Thank you, Charity, by the way. So let's just talk about again, as the committee member pointed out, in terms of the physical education budget at $10 million with current spend to date at $1.5 million, or about 15%, which is pretty much on par with what we'd expect to see at this point in the year. Things tend to start slow and then gradually ramp up as the school year progresses. Again, these funds are used to cover salaries and benefits for 106 full-time PE teachers and 22 PE techs, and that's an important point to make. Plus, it also includes some of those capital outlays for equipment, materials, and supplies. Next, I'd like to bring up Ms. Kathy Oti, who will share some updates on our vocational programs.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today I'm excited to share with you some of the amazing things happening in our CTE programs. This year we have over 14,000 students enrolled in CTE courses throughout middle school and high school, and those are unduplicated numbers. So of those 14,000 students, many of them actually take more than one CTE program. So we have about 21,000 actual enrollments in our courses. We are in our third year of implementing the program Zello. Zello is a career exploration platform that helps students explore career choices and prepare for the workforce or college after high school. And as part of the Zello platform, we start by surveying our seniors to see what their plans are for after high school. So we ask them what their E is going to be. And this is our current senior classes' beginning of the year choices on their E. So as you can see, 55% are planning to enroll in some form of post-secondary education. 27% are planning to go straight into the workforce. 8% are planning to pursue entrepreneurship. And 10% are planning to enlist. And just something I found interesting, these numbers have a little shifted a little compared to last year. The employment number has gone up by 5% since last year. So many more of our students are planning to go straight into the workforce this school year. We have also had several business and industry interactions this year already, and we expect to see these numbers continue to grow as the school year goes on. But already within the first quarter, we've had 90 students who have completed their shadowing at Advent Hospital. We had 550 students participate in our first 2 Next Working events. At those events, students within their CTE area get to interact with business and industry members and roundtable conversations and ask them about the actual jobs that they do every day. We had 78 digital video students mentored in the Ocala Film Derby. At the culmination of the Film Derby, students have 9 hours to create a 3 to 6 minute short film. Those films are then judged and then played at Marion Theater for community members. We also had 75 FFA members participate in our first Marion County Federation Field Day. That's an event they've started to try to get our FFA members to create some relationships amongst our different schools. And we had 70 CTE instructors attend a TIGB career exploration training. TIGB is a new career exploration platform that has come out. It's promoted by Space Florida. And what it does is it has short video clips of people in STEM careers talking about what they do. And then students can interact with those professionals, ask them questions all week. And then at the end of the week, that professional records another video of themselves answering the students' questions. So we're excited to start using that in our programs. All of these programs are supported by referendum, whether it's through the teacher unit, through equipment, through travel for our students. Without referendum, most of these opportunities would not be available to our students.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. So let's jump into some of the numbers here behind that lovely programmatic information that she shared. So right now for this year's vocational budget stands at $2.4 million, and it funds 17 vocational teachers. So far, about 14% has been spent. And this covers, as similar to physical education, covering salaries, benefits, capital outlay, and purchase services. Purchase services include contracted work to expand programs like our new avionics program for our new high school. And so it's important to really emphasize that these dollars are really being used to support the men and women who are actually on the ground, really, really on the front line helping our students. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Ms. Bregan Hughes, and she's going to share a little bit about what's happening in library and media programs.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Media specialists from across the county came together on August 5th, 6th, and 7th for a day of learning with their colleagues. During these sessions, media specialists had opportunities to collaborate with their peers, dive into weeding reports to better support their community of students, and learn more about the Gale platform to best support practices for research on each of their campuses. All media specialists have completed the library media training, which is a requirement by the state. In this training, media specialists learn about state statutes that mandate resources made available in our media centers as well as our classroom libraries. This training is required before media specialists can review and purchase new materials for their libraries. In our elementary schools, our media specialists are hard at work providing required instruction regarding internet safety. During this training, students learn about how to stay safe when on the internet. At this time, all of our elementary students have received this required instruction. Along with completing required trainings and instruction, media specialists also use their space to highlight state observances. Over the course of the last 2 months, media specialists have highlighted Constitution Week as well as Hispanic Heritage Month by creating different displays that include both nonfiction and fiction books about U.S. history and Hispanic heritage. In August, we opened 2 new elementary schools, both on the southwest end of Marion County. Whiting Oaks Elementary and Ross Prairie Elementary include beautiful, state-of-the-art media centers. These sites provide amazing learning opportunities on their campuses. While the opening day collections at each site are essentially identical, the media specialists at each school will have the opportunity to curate a collection that is built off student population, needs, and interests. At Whiting Oaks, Miss Brady is a recent transplant to Ocala from Naples, Florida, where she worked for Collier County Public Schools for 16 years. During her time with Collier County, she served as a classroom teacher, teaching 4th and 5th grade, as well as a math coach for 5 years, and 1 year spent as a media specialist. As the proud new media specialist at Whiting Oaks Elementary, she hopes to instill the same love of learning with all students. Ms. Brady feels the library should truly be the heart of the school where students, teachers, and parents can engage with reading in a meaningful way. Mrs. Lanza is the media specialist at Ross Prairie Elementary, where she supports learning and reading across her campus. With 853 students, she keeps busy throughout the day. She has been in education for 25 years and as a media specialist for the past 3 years. As a bilingual media specialist, she is able to support her Spanish-speaking community of learners with ease. As a teacher, Mrs. Lanza always knew how critical reading is, and more so, a love for books. She values teachers greatly, and as the media specialist, she is able to serve her teachers and impact students' love of reading and books on a much larger scale. English is her second language, which created great obstacles for her learning how to read. With these personal experiences, learning to speak and read English, she connects well with the community of learners she serves each day. Both Ms. Brady and Ms. Lanza are excited for their new experiences that they have had in the Media Center this year. So thank you for everything that the referendum does for our media specialists across Marion County.
Thank you, Bregan. With that, I'll jump into some of the numbers. So again, this tracks very similarly to the other programs that referendum dollars support, with the Media and Library budget coming in at $4.4 million with a current spend to date of $630,000, or about 14%, which is pretty much on target for where we'd expect things to be this early in the school year. We currently fund 49 media specialists across all of the schools. And again, these referendum dollars are crucial for our media centers to operate as hubs for learning, creativity, and research. And so with that, I will now move on to the next area and invite Ms. Brooke Hutto to come up, and she's going to speak about visual arts and music programs.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. You know, I always love getting to come up and share all the great things we are doing in fine arts. The 25-26 school year is off to a fabulous start for our fine arts programs. To begin the year, we do focus on fundamentals across all of our grade levels. In our visual arts classes, that means learning about the elements of art, which includes line, shape, form, value, space, color, and texture. And as you can see, the students at South Ocala Elementary were focusing on line. They were learning about a variety of line types such as wavy, curly, dotted, zigzag, etc. At View Middle School, our students served up a role of creativity by making faux food sculptures using none other than toilet paper. They focused on the shape and form of the piece, as well as creating the appropriate color and texture for their faux foods. And then finally, we have Westport photography students who were studying the use of lighting to enhance the subjects of their compositions. In the world of performing arts, we also have a focus on fundamentals as well as recruitment. Every high school band program hosts a 8th grade middle school night during marching band season so that our 8th grade band and color guard students can get a glimpse of what high school band is like. And it also helps to encourage recruitment for our band and color guard programs at the high school level. These students have the opportunity to not only come out and play at a football game, but they get to march typically on the field. They usually come out for the national anthem and perform on the field with their cohorts of high school students. And it gives them a really incredible opportunity to know what it's going to feel like when they get to high school. At Westport High School, our Theater 1 students are just starting their journey in theater by honing their pantomime skills. Groups had to create a skit using only the skill of pantomime, which is the art of telling a story through bodily movements only. They then perform their skits for one another, providing constructive critiques to help them improve. Learning and growth, though, is never limited to our students. Pictured in the middle are some of our elementary music educators at their August in-service. They were learning about something called the Orff-Schulwerk approach, which is a child-centered music philosophy emphasizing active participation, creativity, and the integration of music, speech, movement, and drama. And since I am mentioning Orff-Schulwerk, I am thrilled to announce that we just found out that 5 of our students, under the direction of Ms. Naoko Wickline at Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary, have been selected to represent Marion County in the Florida All-State Orff Ensemble. This is an incredibly prestigious audition-only ensemble, and they will perform at the Florida Music Educators All-State Conference in Tampa in January of 2026. So we are super excited for those students. Finally, I wanted to personally invite you to some of our upcoming events that are taking place in the next few weeks. This weekend is the 21st annual Ocala Marching Band Festival at Westport High School, which will begin at 2:00 p.m., and it will feature marching bands from our county and also within the surrounding counties. The Ocala Arts Festival, sponsored by Fine Arts for Ocala, is going to be next weekend in downtown Ocala. We will have student art on display and student performances happening all weekend at Citizen Circle. We're also excited that we have some theater groups that are going to come out and do a musical theater performance, and we also have a middle school band from Fort McCoy that is coming out for the first time in a long time. November 6th, we have our middle school all-county band concert held at the Riley Arts Center, and November 11th is the MCPS Veterans Day event at Veterans Memorial Park, which will begin at 11 a.m. That night, we will also recognize our Superintendent Choice Award winners for the art show during our school board meeting at 5:30. I invite each of you and the Marion County community to come on out and join us at any or all of our events and see what the referendum brings into the lives of our students and community. I remind everybody that this is only possible because of referendum and the teachers that are supported through the referendum funding at every school. For those of us who have been around for a while, we remember back when our teachers were shared amongst schools. And so our music and art teachers were 1 for every 2 schools. And that was something we don't want to return back to. So we are very thankful that our students have this incredible support from the Marion County community and that they are able to partake in these different events and be able to fulfill their passions in life through art, music, and the performing arts. So thank you again for the continued support, and thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. Now let's delve into the numbers a bit here. Okay. So with the visual arts, the budget is $5.2 million with the spend of about $8,000 so far this year, which is low, but we do expect that to ramp up as the school year progresses. These dollars are used to support 55 art teachers, 12 paraprofessionals, and 1/2 of a coordinator position. And so we certainly appreciate the work that they do. And I think in our last board meeting, we had a lovely presentation of a film that was produced by some students so we can see some of their hard work and what that actually looks like on the big screen. Let's go back one. Okay, next we're going to talk about the music program and how those referendum dollars are being invested to support students in music. The budget is $5.7 million, again with a spend of about $9,000 to date, which we expect to increase over time as the school year progresses on. Now, we support 54 music teachers, 12 paraprofessionals, and again, 1/2 of a coordinator position to support the music program with referendum dollars. These funds help replace instruments, refresh supplies, and sustain creative programs that enrich learning and inspire lifelong appreciation for the arts and accessibility to music and the arts for the entire district and all students. With that, I'll invite Ms. Cassie Boucher to come up, and she's going to talk a little bit about professional leadership and learning.
Good afternoon. I'm not sure that I can follow student art projects made from toilet paper, but I'm going to try. So in professional leadership and learning, we're very grateful for our referendum funds because they allow us to support and grow our new teachers in the district. Currently, those funds are centered primarily for our first-year teachers, who we call our novice educators. We have 147 teachers who fall into that category. And then our early career teachers, of whom we have 238. And in that third column, you'll see the different supports that are provided to those two different categories of teachers. And those supports are shared between school and then the district office as well. So on schools, our novice educators each receive a one-on-one mentor. So this mentor is a fellow educator on their campus in most cases. We do have some unique situations like with our art teachers or with our social workers where they get a mentor who is serving very specifically in that field, and we've got something set up for that so they get that unique experience. Otherwise, it is someone right there on their campus. These teachers also receive monthly opportunities on their campuses as well as through professional learning opportunities in our department. Our second-year teachers get that ongoing mentorship through a site-based lead. So there is a lead teacher who then supports those second-year teachers. We have additional sessions offered by our department. That's called New Teacher Academy 2.0. So during that first year, they have the opportunity to attend New Teacher Academy, and then we differentiate the second year teachers so that they're receiving different supports, but they're ongoing. And then on that next slide, we wanted to break down for you some of what that looks like for these teachers. So I kind of already addressed those site-based meetings. So the monthly professional learning is going to address what we refer to as our FEAPs, or our Florida Educator Accomplished Practices. These are the standards that guide our teachers and what they're instructing upon. And so every month on their campus, their site lead is hosting a professional learning session that they can attend and learn about that individual practice. Additionally, there is a monthly what we call technical assistance meeting. And so these are those things that teachers need to know that aren't necessarily covered by the FEAPs. So things like, how do I work my gradebook? What does that look like? How do I use Canvas? So those systems that we have in place that teachers need to learn and be able to navigate, but may not necessarily be part of our FEAPs. In addition to that, we have some things we were able to fund as well through our department, the first of which was very fun, and that was our Great Beginnings Teacher Store. So I believe at the last session you may have heard a little bit about our Great Beginnings. That is our kickoff event for our new teachers, where they're invited to come in for a 2-day session where they can learn all about Marion County. They get to meet supports that are here in place for them, and it's a wonderful time. One of the things we were able to fund using those referendum dollars was a Great Beginnings Teacher Store, because it is not cheap to set up a classroom. When you think about all of those pencils and crayons and markers and nameplates and bulletin boards, it adds up. And so they had the opportunity throughout those 2 days. We were drawing names, and over the course of the 2 days, everyone had an opportunity to come and visit and shop and get their classroom stocked for children who were coming in. So that was a wonderful opportunity. Beyond that, we have our New Teacher Academies, which I mentioned previously. Teachers do receive a stipend for their attendance at those sessions to help honor the time that they're investing. And actually, as I was leaving the office to walk over here, 2 of our program specialists were getting ready. We offer both a face-to-face and virtual option for each of those academies, again, to try and meet the needs of all of these teachers and their schedules and really just honor that. The other thing, and you'll see a little a t-shirt for our Mentor World Tour. So when our program specialists were beginning our professional learning for our mentors, because that is also ongoing professional development that we offer, they did a kickoff by meeting at regions so that teachers didn't have to travel quite as far. And this is professional learning that is offered to these mentor teachers to enable and empower them to support their new teachers and the work that they're doing. So those are just some of the things that we're able to fund through these referendum dollars, and we're very grateful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie. I'm going to move on to the next slide here, and just to underscore what she mentioned, it's just vitally important that the staff have the support that they need. Now, we're investing in referendum dollars about $624,000, which is the smallest portion of the referendum dollars, but again, as she pointed out, critically important to the success of the teaching staff, that they have the training, mentorship, and collaboration opportunities that they need and are afforded through the referendum dollars. These ongoing investments help to strengthen teachers' practices, supports innovation, and ensures staff and have the leadership skills and tools that they need to succeed every day and help our students succeed every day. With that, I'd like to move on to the next area, which is school safety, and invite Mr. Dennis McFadden up to speak.
We have quickly a question before that.
Just one question, and
Yes.
this may be the same answer we had before, but in 23-24, professional development increased significantly, which I love. I love this program. I wish we could throw millions at it. But now we've decreased back down both last year and projection for this year. Do we know what the difference was in that year that it doubled?
We can't speak to that at this moment unless Mr. Whitehouse wants to try to opine on that.
Good point. So, as you recall, when we were doing our budget for this year, one of the changes we had to make was adjusting the class size ratios in our classrooms, which decreased the number of teachers that we needed, which also decreases the number of first-year teachers that we would hire that would then be supported by this professional learning. So it was good that we didn't have as many vacancies to fill. We don't have as many teachers to support, but obviously, we'd love to get our class sizes back where we want them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick question about class size then. Are we not in compliance right now?
So we just ran our reports for FTE2. Most of our schools are still in compliance, even though we increased those ratios, because we do have at a lot of our sites classrooms that are traditionally smaller that offset, because we do a school-wide average. It's not class by class. We calculate the average for the entire school. And so most are in compliance. We have a few that are a little bit above the class size average, but the rule changed with the state that there's no longer a financial penalty. So most districts have started shifting their class size because there is no financial penalty. We still have to provide a corrective plan, and we do always strive, even with our times this year, we're still striving to meet a school-wide average for all of our schools.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to provide this quarterly update on school safety and security spending. While this quarter has seen minimal expenditures, our primary cause has been maintaining our school resource officers on every campus, which continues to be a critical part of our safety strategy. There have been no major purchases during this reporting period, but I want to emphasize that this does not reflect a lack of progress. Several planned projects experienced delays due to vendor scheduling, delayed arrival of previously ordered items, and the need to coordinate around existing summer facility projects to avoid operational disruptions. Despite these delays, we have maintained actively engaged behind the scenes, finalizing project plans, coordinating with contractors, conducting site assessments, and preparing for significant rollout of security hardening measures. For context, in previous quarters, we've invested in several important safety improvements, including door buzzer systems for controlled access, upgraded surveillance cameras, both inside our schools and on school buses, and door hardening projects aimed at slowing or preventing unauthorized entry. These investments have created a strong foundation for the next phase of our security enhancements. Looking ahead, we anticipate a much more active quarter in both project implementation, training, and spending. A key driver of this activity will be our response to newly revised access control requirements. These mandates now require that access control measures be in effect from 30 minutes before the start of the school day until 30 minutes after the end of the school day. Gates and access points may remain open or unlocked only if another lock barrier prevents direct, unimpeded access to students. Additionally, common instructional areas such as cafeterias, gyms, media centers, and auditoriums must either remain locked or be actively monitored when in use for instruction and student testing. This here picture here shows a reunification training that we done over the summer. This is required by the state to have a reunification plan in place. And basically what it means, if there's ever a need to evacuate or reunify, move students off of campus to an off-site location, we have a plan and the training to make sure that kids are safely returned or reunified to their parents or to their guardians. And this is one of the trainings that we put in over the summer. Okay. Although the financial activity this quarter may appear limited, the work that has taken place in positioning us for a significant increase in security-related upgrades next quarter. As always, we remain committed to using the referendum funds responsibly and transparently, and to ensuring that every investment we make directly supports the safety and well-being of our children, our students, staff, and visitors. We appreciate your continued support and welcome any questions or feedback from this committee.
Thank you, Mr. McFadden. Any questions?
Got a quick question.
Okay.
There has been news lately about the cost of the law enforcement at our football games and such. Is any of that being funded by the referendum, or are the sports activities funding those officers?
No, ma'am. Those funding for those football games are directly paid by the schools. Not the referendum. The school's internal budgets pays for those SROs at the football games and all after-school events. Now, what we did, we have as a Safe School Department, graduations are a big part of this here whole security, so we do have to provide security for graduations, but the football games and those after-hour events are not paid for by the referendum. Those are internal school funds. And what we do for the graduation, we pay a small portion of that because we had to increase the level of security at our graduations because they have gotten so big and so many thousands of people show up. The schools themselves just can't afford and absorb that total cost. So we have, from a safe school standpoint, throughout our funding that we have, help support that need for security at those graduations.
I have a question. How many resource officers do we have?
We have, right now we have 66 as we get ready to roll into the new high school being built in South Marion. No more CCC. South Marion, that'll increase by 2, and we'll make some adjustments depending on how many students that we have at Westport and Dunellen to make sure that we have enough SROs to cover both of those schools. And just keep in mind, sometimes in midstream, we may have to add an SRO to a school because of what they call for services and the amount of activity that's going on at a school. You may have a school that's increased student population. There's just a lot going on, and the SROs are so consumed with the daily activities that we sometimes have to increase that number, add an SRO for the safety of the students and the staff.
Also, Mr. McFadden, I'm assuming that those schools that were newly built, those are very up-to-date with the safety measures, I'm assuming.
Yes, ma'am.
So how many SROs do those schools require?
So for our 2 elementary schools, we only have 1 SRO each for each elementary school. But the new high school that's coming in, with the anticipation of well over 2,000 students, it is a best practice that we internally feel, as well as the district, that we have to have 2 SROs at all of our high schools. It's just not feasible with the amount of stuff going on there to try to run the security side of a school, especially a high school with less than 2 SROs.
How does the adjusting and potentially adding an SRO based on need, how does that impact the budget? Is that factored into it? Is there a little wiggle room there?
Yeah, so what, obviously, we know that the schools are being built ahead of time, so we prepare for that increase as we prepare our budget and the contract with the Sheriff's Office and the Ocala Police Department. So prior to signing the contract for this year new 23, 25 to 26 school year, we anticipated for the opening of the high school come August of 2026. So we added that into the budget for those 2 extra SROs.
I was speaking to the comment where you said if there's an uptick on.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes, so how does that extra SRO coming in mid-year affect the budget?
It affects it, obviously, with the Sheriff's Office, their cost is a lot less than the city of Ocala's. It affects it. It's usually a $75,000 to a $90,000 increase, depending on whether it's in the unincorporated areas of the county or the city limits. So it will increase it if we have to add an SRO. But like I say, so far, we don't anticipate, and that's what we say, we don't anticipate having to add any more SROs to any of our high schools, because we already have 2 at every one of them, and we've prepared for that in the future. And for as our middle schools, we've got 2 SROs at a lot of our middle schools as well.
Thank you.
Mr. McFadden, I think you've addressed this in the past, but are expenditures related to the Guardian program come out of the Safe Schools, out of this money?
Yes, sir, it does.
That's great. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McFadden. With that, you see a pie chart and graph here that represents where the investment of referendum dollars for school safety at a total of $6.7 million, with $1.5 million spent so far, or about 26%. And as Mr. McFadden pointed out, these dollars are used to ensure that the schools remain safe and welcoming environments where our students can learn and thrive every day. If there's no other questions on these previous slides, I'm going to move on to our charter schools.
I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's showing the total budget as $6.8 million on slide 31.
Mhm.
On slide 4, it's saying it's 7.1.
Let me see.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. It's probably me.
There's probably a typo there. I do apologize. The correct number would be the 6.7.
6.7 is correct?
Yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
thank you.
It's not you.
Wonder if that's showing like what is on pace.
Okay. So slide, oh, actually, there's a correction there. So slide 4 does include the charter schools, and that's why. So it's a little higher. Thank you, Kayla. Okay. Any other questions or observations? Okay. With that, we'll jump into charter schools. And charter schools is going to track very similarly to what we see in the district. And so you're going to see a lot of parallels here, except the numbers are going to be significantly smaller. Per statute, we are required to share in referendum dollars with charter schools, and the charter school referendum funds budget, total expenditure budget is $895,000, with actual expenditures to date of $317,000. Again, tracking very similarly to the district. We have a physical education budget, $158,000 with $44,000 spent. Art at $53,000 budget, $14,000 spent. Music at $80,000 budget, and $21,000 spent. And professional development, $234,000 budget, and $123,000 spent. Safe Schools making up the lion's share at $368,000 with $114,000 spent. All charter school programs are on track and aligned with the referendum guidelines. Next slide. And so we'll go into a couple of more slides here to help put a pin in it. So we're talking about physical education, and again at $158,000 at about almost 28%. And you can see there, lion's share, again, salaries and benefits. For charter schools art referendum expenditures by program, you'll see a total budget of $53,000 and 26%. Again, almost exclusively going for salaries and benefits. On the charter school music side, $80,000 and a spend of 26%, mostly towards salaries and benefits. And professional development at $234,776 at 53%. Again, salaries and benefits making up the lion's share of the spend to date. Last but not least, Safe Schools, again, the lion's share of charter school referendum funds at $368,706 with the spend to date of 31%. Again, the lion's share going towards salaries and benefits to support staff at those charter schools. If there's not any additional questions, I'll pause there. And if not, I will continue with some closing remarks, but I think we have a question. Sure.
Are the charter schools getting the same amount per student as the public schools do?
That's a really good question. Let me see if our budget director, Kayla, will come up and maybe elaborate on that a bit.
Yes, so the calculation is actually dictated by statute, and we have to calculate the amount of referendum dollars per student, and then they get their share of that. So if it's $500 per student and the charter school has 1,000 students, they would get 500 times the 1,000 students.
And they're all brick and mortar, it's not anyone being homeschooled?
These would be all charter school students. It's not, we aren't required to allocate any of the referendum funds to homeschool students.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions from members of the committee? Okay. Well, hearing none, before I wrap up, again, just give you one last opportunity. If there's any questions, comments, of course, you can catch me or the staff after the meeting. But I do want to thank you all for your time, your partnership, and your continued support. The referendum funds really make a difference, a real difference, in strengthening our programs, improving safety, and expanding opportunities for our students and staff. Together, we're ensuring that these investments continue to benefit our schools and continue for years to come, hopefully. Thank you for your time.
One last thing, I know these
Yes, sir.
submitted questions. The submitted questions?
Yes, I have those submitted questions here, and I think we addressed most of them during the course of the meeting, but I will recap them. So Chair Osley did submit a few questions in writing to us, and the first of which had to do with the impact, state change budget impacts on programs, specifically if there's any referendum dollars being moved to cover something previously covered by another source. And I think we talked a little bit about that earlier when we talked about class-sized teachers being moved to general funds, and that all the art, music, and PE teachers, library and media, would stay in referendum, which was about an even swap. So that's the major impact on referendum as far as state changes go and things that the district has decided to do in order to stabilize those class size reduction and putting them in general fund. And then as referendum dollars continue to be invested and then looking into the future, hopefully that continues and we'll be able to have those dollars supporting PE, art, media, and the like for the foreseeable future. The second question that was submitted, had to do with, let's see here, funds being allocated for new classrooms coming online, specifically the teaching mentor programs. We did talk a little bit about that, and just to kind of help provide a little bit more information, most of the teachers that are coming into the system who are participating and working in these programs are not new teachers. Most of these teachers are seasoned, but for those teachers that are novice teachers, we are providing one-on-one mentorship and additional supports to help them have the professional development that they need as we open up more schools. And that kind of tracks a little bit in terms of new folks coming into teaching, maybe who have chosen to have a change in career versus those teachers that have been around for a while and have chosen to work with Marion County Public Schools. The last question had to do with school safety, and really was really speaking to, it looks like, whether referendum dollars were being used for any one-time type expenses for school safety and those type of construction budgets. I think Mr. McFadden might be able to speak to that, but from my understanding, we really don't have too much of an investment in those one-time expense type areas at this time.
Yeah, I think that question was the school safety stuff built into the construction budgets, or was some of it shifted to referendum? It was all built into the construction budgets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, which I thought that would be the answer.
Another quick question, if I can.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Yep, thank you. Yeah, just confirm that's the case. Yep.
Perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Help me understand, what % of the salaries and benefits in the public school calculations here are for class size amendment? And what it just baffles me that for the charter schools that it's pretty much every dime is going to salaries and benefits. Is that also for class size?
For class size, generally, yes. As you can imagine, the 70 to 80% of the entire district budget is going towards personal services and benefits for instructional staff. And that does track at the charter schools, but probably even more so, but the numbers are significantly smaller.
They are smaller, but I'm puzzled what their class sizes look like then.
Well, I don't know if it's necessary, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it's necessarily a class size amendment. I think in each category, like art, one of the ways in which they can spend the money is to hire art teachers, correct? So if you look at the breakdowns in each category, in almost all of them in the public school, a vast majority of the resources are going to personnel. And then we have other capital outlay and some others. But it looks like in the charter schools, they're spending 100% on personnel, which they're allowed to do, as long as it's within those areas of art, music, safety, all those kinds of things. So.
Yeah, that is correct. And just to underscore that, the charter schools have a lot of autonomy via the state statute, and so we don't necessarily control, their budgets, or, they're not required to provide audits to us. We do act as a pass-through for those funds, and we can certainly provide additional information if needed, but that is correct. They can spend that money as they see fit. And, you know, they operate, again, similarly to what we do. They have to abide by the same guidelines, but the particulars may change a little bit.
I do have a question. You know, we have a school board at a central location where all of the budgeting for the entire county happens, but that's not the case for the charter schools, correct? They're each individually receiving those funds.
That is correct. They have their own charter. They are their own legal entity. They have their own set of financial statements, their own audits. And so we serve as a pass-through and provide support to them, but they do operate in a very autonomous manner.
Who does the oversight?
The state does the oversight, the State Department of Education.
And again, I think there's a lot of autonomy even within the public school system, like how you allocate the dollars is really an operational decision. That you allocate them within the language of the referendum is really our responsibility, just to make sure these dollars are being spent within the language of the referendum. How you do that is a budgetary and operational decision on their part. So, I mean, technically, I guess you could spend 100% of it on safety if you wanted to. But that, of course, I don't think that meets necessarily the spirit of the referendum.
And thank you, Charles Lee. That's an important point to mention. I'd be remiss if I didn't also add that, you know, charter schools may decide to transfer funds, or maybe that's the way it looks right now in the first quarter. In the second quarter, it looks a little different. So we just have to monitor it, and we get those reports from them, and we'll be happy to provide an additional update if there's any changes. We'll make sure that they're being transparent and providing that information to you.
And I suppose each school is getting their percent based on the number of students that they have.
Correct. Yes.
That is correct. It's a complicated formula. We get we get a schedule from the state, and basically we plug in numbers, and it tells us exactly how much the total allocations are going to be for all the charter schools at the individual and aggregate level.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to the staff for being here and putting this together. We appreciate your time and oversight. Thank you.
So, by the way, thank you to this board for being very engaged and asking questions. I think that's what we're supposed to do, and I appreciate it. One thing that we also are supposed to do per our bylaws is have a section in this meeting for public comment. I make it a point to try to review the bylaws every now and then, and for some reason that has not been on the agenda. And so I'm going to read directly from them. We will open it up now if there is any public comment for no more than 3 minutes. And it says this within our bylaws, that ICROC shall announce to the public before receiving public input that ICROC does not receive or act on any individual complaints or requests, and does not act as an appellate body to review any decision of the school board, district, or school administrators. So with that, is there any public comment? Oh, wow. All right.
And, usually I'm on the other end of not being able to hear.
The 3 minutes is up. I'm sorry, Ms.
Okay. I just want to take a few moments as I sunset on my position as the chair. The referendum comes up in conversation many times throughout our board meetings, and so I really can't put into words my appreciation, my gratitude for the work that you do to manage and watch over and provide oversight for these funds. Because when I think about what our public schools would look like without these programs, it is a totally different picture. Some of the pictures that were included today, the film festival, the art show. The other thing I love is it just gives an outlet for all different kinds of students, you know, in things that they're interested in outside of reading, writing, and math. So I'm probably close to my time limit, but I just want to say thank you for taking time to be here, to be part of this committee and for your voice in the community about how these dollars are spent. So thank you.
Thank you, Chair Conrad, we appreciate that. Okay, a couple of house cleaning items. Dr. Brewer, I talked with Jeremy today about this, so you don't have to worry about it. We usually have our organizational meeting in January during our first meeting, but our bylaws actually technically say we have to have it by January 1st. So I've asked Jeremy to, we can't change the bylaws, the board does. So he's going to bring at the appropriate time to the board to change the bylaws to say, instead of by January 1st, by January 31st of each year, that we have our organizational meeting. That allows us to have our first meeting as the organizational meeting. That's how we've been operating. So we'll just make the bylaws work for how we've been operating. So that request is coming formally. If everybody is okay with that, that's coming formally from us, and that will come to you as the board. So another thing I wanted to touch on real quick is we did school visits last year. We haven't done any this year. Before this calendar year is out, is there any interest from this board to go see some of these programs in person?
I was able to make 2 of them last year and thoroughly enjoyed them. So I know it's very difficult. They are during the day, but if they do get set, I would highly encourage y'all to clear your schedules, because it was very enjoyable and very enlightening.
Yeah. So if it's possible, and again, maybe just a couple of programs, let's not make it too, I don't want to put too much stress. You guys have a lot going on. I don't want too much stress, but just for us as a oversight committee to put our eyes on it would be, I just think, another layer of us doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yes, certainly, we can make that happen for you. Would you like us to put out some date options for you and just see what we can make work? Probably the best option would be go to a high school. You can see a lot of our career and technical education programs that are funded through the referendum, and then maybe one of our elementary schools, so you can see some of the art, music, and media services.
That would be perfect. Yeah,
thank you. I will have to say, I think Ms. Brooke out there, I got a chance to see Howard band play the jazz and a regular band, because my nephew plays on it, even had a little solo part on there, and they were great. I mean, it was amazing to watch. I'm like, I don't know how many hours they spent practicing. It was amazing. So they did a great job.
My grandson participated, he did the solo too.
Okay.
I'm so proud of him.
Well, thank you, guys. The last thing for us, an annual report is required. I will work on getting the first draft of that together in the fourth quarter, send it out to everyone for comment, and then I'd like for us to be able to submit that before year end to the superintendent. So that's forthcoming. We'll try to keep that going as well. And then lastly, for meeting schedule for next year, I mean, I think at the very least we need to schedule an organizational meeting. And the schedule that we've been on has been working. Which Thursday is it? The second Thursday or the third? Third? So the third Thursday of January, if that doesn't fall on a holiday, then I think we'll work to schedule that for our organizational meeting and our first meeting of next year, and then look at that third Thursday each quarter moving forward. Does that work for everybody? All right. So I think if there is nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry. Just looking at the calendar, I just wanted to clarify on the agenda, it says 1/6 for the organizational meeting. If we want to hold to the third Thursday, it would be the 15th.
Okay,
Is that 15th okay?
that works.
Okay.
We'll make it happen.
Okay.
All right, great. All right, so if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn? All right, second, all in favor? Aye. Motion, the meeting's over. Thank you, meeting's adjourned.